Okay. I hope you can hear me well. And I hope you can hear the music a little bit as well. For me, it's loud enough. Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in again. Just before I was starting, I was like testing the noise, or like the volume, and if I was speaking loud enough, and I was thinking, oh, I wish I had this like a little microphone that I could like have here and just speak into, because I really enjoy when I watch videos and people have those, and you can really hear their voice so well, and like the tones of their voice and the warmth. Like, I really love that, and I don't know, maybe I will get one, I don't know. Anyway, welcome back. Yeah, it's really nice that you tune in again. I'm aware that I haven't been making videos for a few weeks now. I think it's been like 3 Wednesdays without a video or something. And I'm also in a different place. The reason why I didn't make a video was because I got sick, and I actually, like, the first Wednesday was like right the beginning of my sickness. I mean, what was nothing major, it just took a while to recover from, and yeah. And then I really wanted to take enough time to or give my body enough time to recover before I jumped back into doing a lot of things. So I just picked up the writing again slowly and thought, okay, now I would do a video. And yeah, and the reason why I'm here is like in the same room but in a different spot is because the lighting, now that it's winter and there's less light, it's just nicer to be closer to the window and to have a little bit more light. So yeah, that's why I'm here. Random information. Okay, I'm a little bit nervous to make this video because I think it's gonna be a little bit different to the other videos, because I think it's going to be a little bit more poetic and more like I don't know, not as much focused on myself, rather on like just general metaverse, yeah, things that I've noticed, and I'm sure you will know a lot of, like, it will not be completely new to you, and yeah, I mean, I was kind of excited to make the video because I really love this poetry that is in nature and that we can really connect to, and at the same time I was nervous because it's just not what I usually do. Usually I speak from, I don't know, like experiences and very life-based, daily life-based things. I feel like, oh, this is voice going down, I'm sorry. It's because the back of this top is open. That's, or like very low. That's why sometimes it falls down. Yeah, okay, so this is the next lesson. It's the 10th lesson that I learned from depression. It's called I'm so much more connected to nature than I thought. I'm so much more connected to nature than I thought. I love that because it makes me feel very grounded and very like, oh, I can relax into where I am at. Maybe just a little bit for context why I put this lesson in my in this book. So I remember when my when my depression started, I really consciously went into nature for like to find a little bit of relief at days. I even went on quite a lot of night walks in the beginning, which I think now I wouldn't do anymore. I would feel like not safe, but I did that back then, and I also yeah, just felt like when I would go into nature, I would find a little bit of relief and grounding, and like coming back to myself in times when I was feeling so anxious and so unsettled, unstable, and so sad and lonely, all those things. And yeah, so I did that in the beginning, and then when I went to the clinic, I think maybe that was kind of the turning point. It was actually really nice. I think there are like all kinds of different experiences of clinics, but the one I went to was, I mean, I wouldn't say it was like the best of the best and not the nicest of the nicest, most nicest. But it was in a very nice location. It was very close to like a tiny village, but like quite like on the side of the village, and behind the clinic, like there was a huge field of grass, and then started like the forest and the mountains, so you could very easily go for walks and really be in nature and really be alone. Like the clinic was in a black forest. I don't know if you who's watching knows it. It's like a mountain range that's very close to where I live. And okay, and there was also a like hot springs, salty hot springs in that village. And so there was like a really nice thermal bath, I don't know what you call it, like a public swimming pool, but like very recreational. And there was a huge park that was built kind of in honor of the hot springs. And so yeah, you could very easily go there as well. And one of the, I was very kind of, maybe I would say a little bit surprised when I got to the clinic that a lot of the activities that they were offering were very basic and very much not what I would have thought, like really to dig deep and do very, just very deep things. It was really like the basics. And one of the activities was that I signed up for was, what was it called? It had a very like a name that really was explaining the activity. I know it was called Start Into the Day. Yeah, Start Into the Day. And it was half an hour after breakfast. Like we would all have breakfast at the same time, like kind of in the same time frame. And then at like, I'm guessing like 8:30 or something, we met outside of one of the buildings with one therapist, or like one woman who was like in charge of this. And she was like a sports therapist, I would say. And then she would just take us on a walk, and we would walk for 30 minutes, go into the around the forest or through this park, to just walk and experience nature and just get out, get some fresh air, get some movement, and kind of get out of our head maybe a little bit. And that was really nice. I really enjoyed that. And I also went on walks myself and with friends there, or with the friends that I made there. And yeah, so when I was there for 10 weeks, and when I came back, I was super excited to continue to go for walks, because I noticed that it very much helped me to kind of, when I'm in a spiral of like doubt or worry or just like not very positive thinking, I noticed that it really helped me. And not only the movement, I mean, it's also part of it, like just the continuous movement and getting my blood flowing and feeling my body, but also just being around nature, watching the trees, listening to the birds, and just seeing nature. And so I went on so many walks in like the year of 2020 until, I would say, the end of last year. I still go on walks quite often, but not as often as I did then. Almost every day, I think. That was like one thing, hope you can hear the music. One grounding point in my day, like to go outside and to go for a walk, and it really helped me a lot. And so by doing that, of course, I very much experienced like what it felt like and what it looked like and what it was like to experience the seasons changing and the weather changing, and just like I noticed a lot of little things that I would never have, or I never really paid attention to before. And it was really exciting because every season, for example, was so different. Like one of the routes that I take is like going to a park that's like quite close to where I live, and there's like a lake, and then like to experience, I don't know, just to see like the trees and the water and the animals, like what changes there. And then also there's like a forest pretty close to here that I go to very often. Like those are the two main things, the main places. And one moment. And I think I could really appreciate the very slow, like seeing the process of change, and that it wasn't a very quick one, but it was one that was continuously happening, and that if I wanted to, I could really notice the different stages and not just like the very radical changes. And I don't know, I feel like I learned so many lessons from just being in nature and watching her. Yeah, and I mean, the lesson, it says I'm so much more connected to nature than I thought. And now there are so many things that I thought of that connect to that, but of course now I can't think of them. I think it's this thing because I'm scared to be too poetic and not to be like very, like to not be able to explain it like in a rational way, because like I don't know, I have people in my head who would say, okay, like it's nice to see parallels between yourself and like nature and like the metaphor for it, but that's just something that you're making up in your head, and in a way it is, and at the same time it's so I mean, we are the ones bringing meaning to our lives, and the way we see our lives and the way we see ourselves really impacts how we think of ourselves, how we think of our place in the world, how we just how we make sense of who we are. And I think that's why it's very helpful to just have those different poetic things or metaphors that help. Like one really big one is like this seasons, like the seasons that are happening around us all the time, which we are very much part of. Like I feel like my whole life exists of all kinds of different seasons, and I mean, hearing that it makes sense, okay, but like to really internalize this, or to really when I do this the camera moves, like to really integrate this and really to know this, there are a lot of different stages for me, and like I think it gave relief to me in the sense that like I saw nature changing, and I always saw, okay, it continues, like no matter the season, it always changes at one point, and every season has its like pros and cons. And yeah, to see like my own life in that light really helped me to to really appreciate the season that I'm in, and to really find those things that make it special and good, and yeah, just are good for me. And on the other hand, to know that like there will come another part of my life where it will be different again, and I don't have to stress about that whatever is now like will be like that forever. Sorry. And that kind of gave me quite a lot of relief in times where I was feeling like, oh, I'm so, I don't know, so different, like my life is so different from everyone else's, and I can't really relate, and they can't really relate to me, and I feel so alone. And then I thought, okay, this is the season of my life, so what is the beauty in this, and what are the good things that I can take from it? It's like I have so much space to explore myself, which is really valuable, like, and something that not a lot of people have the privilege to do. And like, just that, I mean, that's just one example, but there are so many little things that I could find that I noticed, okay, this is part of my life now, and it's valuable, and still it's only like one season, and it will change, and then I will be grateful I had that season, but then it will move into another one. And it also helped me to not judge, like to kind of see the life that I had before that as also in that light of the different seasons, and to not say, okay, that season was like better than what is now. It was just a different kind of experience, and it gave me a lot of, like, for example, when I was traveling so much, meeting a lot of people, like, it was so nice to just see so much and to really connect and to learn so much. And at the same time there, I didn't really have the space and time and the like slowness in my life to really explore myself in the depth that I've been able to do now in the last years. And still it was very, very valuable and shaped so much of who I am today. Yeah, so like this sense, okay, there are different seasons, and one is maybe more where you more like focused on yourself and like your very, like the very little things in your life, and you're maybe more secluded. And then there are other seasons where you're like wanting to share and being with other people and just, I don't know, enjoying life, and they're all part of this cycle of seasons that continue, and where you continue to learn and grow and mature as a person and with your experiences. Yeah, and I really like this metaphor because I don't know what, when I like looking to nature, I feel like gives me so much wisdom and so much peace compared to what I've been fed all those years about what life should look like, and that it's like this, I mean, there's beauty in that as well, like to see it like you grow, like linear. And I think throughout those different seasons we do grow as a person, but they're there as well, and they're all good. And I feel like it turning my view from this linear growth that I've been told, which didn't really fit into my life experience, because I felt like, okay, if I'm supposed to grow linearly, then I'm like really failing right now. Like when I was in depression, because I was like, okay, but nothing is growing, nothing visibly is growing in my life. I'm not achieving anything big that, like, from how you would value it or explain it, or not explain, but like see it in the eyes of someone who just values the visible growth, maybe, and the one that is like appreciated by society and valued. And seeing nature and the different seasons helped me to kind of lift this weight of shame and this weight of failure or feeling of failure of my shoulders. Also this idea of roots, that you can't really see them, but like very strong roots create the foundation for a plant or a tree or like whatever it is to really grow big, and those roots really have to grow first before something big can come, and then it can grow in, I don't know, it can grow quickly when you hadn't noticed the roots growing, and then suddenly it like comes out and wow, there's this big plant or this big something that's growing. That idea I also really liked when I thought about it, like that what we see is not everything there is, that there's something much more vast and deep that's like in the soil, but is also so deeply needed to like draw nutrients from the ground, metaphorically, like to draw nutrients from a base that you really feel nourished from. Sorry, I feel like the camera's moving the whole time. I will try not to move too much on the couch. And just the fact that there's so much variety in nature, and that there's so many different kinds of plants, the way they grow, every tree grows so differently depending on the environment, depending on the weather, depending on the soil, and they're not like one is better or worse, like they're all perfectly the way that they are meant to be, or the way that they grow perfectly in that environment. And like even the same species, they look different, but even like just the different plants, like there's so much beauty in the variety and in the vastness of like different plants. And I love that. Like when I walk outside and I see, like, now that fall is coming to an end, like it's not fully winter yet, like I still see so many different colors, and it's just so cool. Like every plant plays a role in creating the beauty that I see in nature. And I think that's such a beautiful metaphor, that we don't have to like, yeah, that being who we are is enough. And it's actually so beautiful that we are who we are, and we are meant to be different, and have different colors, and have different seasons, and have different styles of growing, and different ways of expressing ourselves. Like this is all part of the beauty of nature that I see when I go on my walks and look around. I really like this metaphor. It really brings me a lot of peace, that I don't have to figure out how to be someone that I think I should be, but that I'm actually like the best version. Like that my goal is just to be me in the most healthy way possible. And that, yeah, it's like not like to yeah, like when I think about the pressure that I felt under, like the people around me like telling me, yeah, you have to do this or that, or but you're now like 26 years old, so you have to do something, like all this like pressure, like a plant doesn't grow. Like if you look at plants, they don't grow better with pressure. They grow better when they have like a good, nourishing ground. They have sun, they have rain, maybe even some kind words from the people around them. Like this is how growth happens. And I think that's also a very beautiful metaphor. It's not about like pushing myself to be someone, but rather like to create the right circumstances and environment, and also like the environment in my mind, of course, like how I speak to myself and how I care for my body, my well-being, like and incorporate things in my life and into my day that bring me joy, to really surround myself with people that nourish me, and like all those things just help me to grow. And I don't need that's the only way that I can grow in a very natural way and healthy way. And I really like this. I feel like I learned this so much from nature. And what I also really like, what made me feel very connected to nature, is what was the lesson again? Sorry. I'm so much more connected to nature than I thought. Okay, I think like the last years just shifted my, like, shifted for me so much how I saw myself. And yeah, like I said, I shifted more towards that I'm more connected to the way that nature works than connected to the way that I thought life was supposed to be based on the things that I've been told and fed growing up, like from my environment and the people and the institutions that I was in. And like one more thing is that one more lesson is that life is like, it's okay if things grow slowly. And I feel like, wait, the music is coming to an end. 1 more minute, or 1.5 more minutes. Like when I watch nature, like so many things happen there at once, and they're not rushing, like, and like, I don't know, when there's a day where it's like raining a lot, it's part of the growth process. And like, I don't know, like, if like, I don't know if I can explain this well, but I feel like I really slow down when I go for a walk. And I like when I've been like in a place where I feel like I have to rush to get somewhere, and then I feel like I'm super stressed and overwhelmed, and then I decide, okay, I have to go for a walk. And then I go for a walk, and like I feel like I can really exhale, and like, for one, because like to be in the fresh air and to see like the beauty of nature just is so nice. And because everything around me in nature grows slowly and doesn't rush and doesn't push to get anywhere, but just grows. And sometimes, of course, like in the spring, like it goes really quickly. I will restart it. Let's see. Sorry. Okay. Like in the spring, like sometimes everything blooms up so quickly, but of course there has been like a preparation period and so much happening inside of the trees and the ground and the plants, so that everything can grow this quickly. But there is always a process that is really not rushing before the growth happens. And that gives me so much peace, that, and like, to also that you don't have to see everything right away. Like something is growing even if you don't see it, or if other people don't see it right away. And like the little growth and the little steps really matter as well. I really like that metaphor. The nature. I feel like there's so much wisdom just in watching how nature works, and how much nature provides. Like there's so much abundance, like with the fruit and vegetables and berries and, I don't know, different leaves that you can eat. And for me, that's a big metaphor for how we look for something really is can change everything. Because I don't know if I can explain this well. Like so often, or from, like, if I look at myself, I used to want to get somewhere to finally be enough, or to just reach certain things so that I could finally be approved, or have that actually finally be a happy person or something, instead of just allowing the process and allowing myself to just be who I am and grow in the way that feels good for me and comfortable for me. And of course sometimes uncomfortable, but like in a way that feels, where I feel I'm capable of growing in the way that I need to. instead of pushing myself to the limits and then overstepping my boundaries and really overwhelming myself again and again, which is not what you need for a healthy body and a healthy nervous system. And yeah, and that the actual like the thing that we're looking for is coming to fruition, like from inside of us anyway. I don't know, every plant that produces some kind of like something that we can eat or animals can eat, or like anything, or the seeds that they produce, it's all inherent in them. Like, you know, like the plant will bring this fruit or this seed, or it's already in them, and it will come out eventually. And of course it depends on the environment, which is like what we are able to control, or like if I see it as a metaphor for my life, or as much as we can like have control over it, and to trust that like the fruit, like the thing that we feel like, but I want to create this, or I want to become this, like that this is there because like now I hope it's understandable, that this is in us because we will become that and we will create those things, by just continuing to grow. And I mean, the plant, and also the plant doesn't say, oh, I'm not good enough, or the apple tree doesn't say, oh, I'm not good enough yet because I'm like, people can't see that I have apples yet, like when it's in the, I don't know, like early springtime, or yeah, like I imagine people don't say, okay, this is a bad apple tree because I don't see any fruit like in the winter. And every stage and every season is important, like the little bulbs that are coming, and then the flowers that look so beautiful, and then they need the bees to pollinate the flowers, and then slowly like the apples grow, and eventually there will be fruit. And I don't know, I feel like I learned to expect so much from myself, and to expect that there needs to be a result right away, there needs to be like a fruit, or I constantly need to be able to deliver. And I feel like looking to nature really taught me that there is a process, and there is like every stage of nurturing the fruit that we want to give, or what we feel like we are here to share. Like every step of the process to get there is valid and important, and just because you don't have like something physical to hold in your hands yet and to say, okay, this is here, everyone look, doesn't mean that you're not going to get there, and doesn't mean that it's not meant for you. It just means that you are in the process of getting there. And there's so many more lessons, like also this whole thing about life and death, and how everything's part of a bigger organism and has like its own time. And how everything is connected to this ground, through the ground, and how there's so much interconnection happening. Like, oh, it's so magic. Like, there's so many beautiful examples that I could say. And I think also because I've been so, like in the last 1.5, almost 2 years, I took a lot of time like of getting to know my own cycles, like my menstrual cycle. I've become way more connected to nature as well. I feel like through that, like to really notice the different seasons that are happening in my body every month, which feel very much connected to the seasons, or very similar to the seasons that I see outside. Oh, and I one more connection I wanted to share is the connection to the moon. Like the moon changes like in 28 days, like goes from a new moon, and then after 14 days to full moon, and then after 14 more days back to new moon, which is like the darkest time of the month, and then the full moon is like the brightest time of the month. And so many times, like, because I don't know, I'm much more aware of it now. Like I've become more aware, like that I've been like going more into nature and just noticing more things. I also notice the moon more, and I really notice when there's like a new moon that I'm much more tired and need a lot of more rest, and oftentimes I notice, like with the people around me, like there's some sense of a new beginning. Like this is what a lot of people say about the new moon. It's like a new beginning, and then the full moon is like a time of transformation when things like really change, and then new moon is another new beginning. And so many times, like someone who I know has moved into a new place, a new moon, or like there has been some kind of an ending and also therefore a new beginning, and like yeah, it's very interesting also in my life when I look at like what is happening. I often feel like around the new moon is kind of like a new beginning, even if it's just like a new way of seeing myself or seeing the things in my life or having a new idea. And then the full moon, I notice that I really I feel very energized usually, and very activated, and really like I want to stay up for a long time, and yeah, don't sleep as easily as I do with the new moon. So in that sense, I feel super connected to nature. Yeah, that's what I want to say. And yeah, and of course the weather. I feel like the weather, I've become so much more aware of how much the weather impacts me, and like how much light there is, how much darkness there is, and how that really impacts my, I'm sure, my hormones, and with that, like just how I feel, if I feel more activated and energized, or less activated and less energized. And I'm sure you can all relate to that in some way. Yeah, and if it's like a rainy day, I feel much different to if it's just like a normal day with like blue skies. Yeah, so I feel like there's so much poetry in nature, and I feel so connected to it because it really influences my life, how I feel in the world, and how I experience things and how I see myself. And I'm so grateful that I've found a way to connect back to it, because one big thing when my depression started was that I felt so lonely and so not at home at all, anywhere here on earth or with anyone really. And I was really yearning to find the sense of home again. I was really missing that for so long, and I feel like spending time in nature and really connecting back to the actual ground I'm living on, and to really honor her by like just spending time with her, really gave me back a sense of, okay, I actually live here, and this planet is my home, like this earth. And yeah, because I know the natural environment here now so much better, it makes me feel so much more home. Yeah, so I'm so happy that I went on this journey and really took the time to build this relationship with nature, like really consciously. I mean, before, I've always been, I mean, we all who live in that hemisphere of the world experience the different seasons and different weather conditions, and we all see the full moon once in a while, or no moon, and the weather. But I think it's a difference to really like do it consciously, and to really take time and space in our lives for it. And yeah, so for me it was really a way of reconnecting to a part of, like, it kind of helped me to reconnect to this part of me that is at peace and that is calm and that is okay and that feels grounded. Yeah, and that's what I really needed so much. All right, I think I said everything that I wanted to say, and I hope it kind of came across how I wanted to say it. Yeah, anyway, thank you so much for listening, for taking time to just hear what I have to say about this. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to many years of seasons and to really deepen my relationship with nature. Like, I've learned so much about like the different herbs as well and the different plants, and yeah, there's so much more to learn. I feel like I love that. Okay, and I think if I wouldn't have, like, if this depression wouldn't have been there, I would have never taken the time to do that. And yeah, if there hadn't been this yearning to find home and to find peace, I wouldn't have done it either. So it was really like the only reason I really did that was because I was so depressed and so anxious and so lonely and so sad. And so in a way it kind of led me back to nature, and I'm really happy. Actually, I'm gonna go outside now. Okay. So again, thank you so much for being here, and I would love to know if there's anything that you want to share about this topic, anything that comes up for you in your connection to nature, and how you maybe see something from nature repeated in your life, or how you see a metaphor there. Feel free to comment below. I've never said that. Yeah, I would love to hear it. And yeah, I think I just want to wish you a really nice day wherever you are, a really nice rest of the week, and yeah, please know that you're good enough exactly as you are. There's no need to rush, and you are absolutely on your path, and you are growing in exactly the right time and the right way that you need to. Okay, I think that's it. See you next week, and all the best to you.